HandCircus CEO and founder Simon Oliver explores the team's motivations for remastering Rolando. Polygon spoke to the developers of the early iPhone game Rolando to discuss how and why the team circled back to make a remastered version of the 2008 mobile game after it was delisted from the App Store in 2017. It's an interesting conversation, and one that touches on some important topics like preservation issues faced by mobile platforms and why devs sometimes need to adjust parts of their remasters to overcome rose-tinted nostalgia. The preservation issue is one that many iOS developers are likely familiar with at this point. Just a couple years ago, Apple made the announcement that it would be phasing out support for 3-2-bit apps on iOS and purging those titles from the App Store unless developers updated them to 6-4-bit. For some developers, bringing their apps in line with new App Store standards either is not worth the cost or is impossible due to licensing or technology reasons. So a great deal of once classic iOS games have essentially been lost to time. It is a really important thing, and I think on iOS and mobile in general, it's been very difficult to have those experiences again. HandCircus founder Simon Oliver tells Polygon, those early games, those early iOS classics that disappeared. It's been a real shame that I cannot play games like Flight Controller Incorporated or Boto, classic games that I remember being really inspired by. With Rolando, we felt very much the same mission of hoping to restore something that is a piece of our history, but obviously it's a little bit of a piece of history of the App Store as well. HandCircus regained the rights for the Rolando series just recently, however, and has since released a remastered version of the series. First game called Rolando Royal Edition. It's a remaster that strives to recreate the game as fans and the dev team remember it, rather than just re-release the original game. As it's for modern devices, nostalgia creates these rose-tinted memories. It's a funny thing, the way you remember it does not always match exactly how it used to be. At first, it was quite jarring. It was like, oh my god, this looks old, says Oliver. The full story on Polygon has more for Oliver on that topic, as well as the preservation motivations for doing so. An in-development Skyrim multiplayer mode, called Skyrim Together, is facing criticism for seemingly taking code from another Skyrim mode, though the developers themselves argue that the code was only present in the prototyping stages of development and has been removed. While the accusation has not branched into a legal threat of any kind, taking code from another project without permission or attribution is the kind of thing that is land developers in hot water, both in modding scenes and full-fledged game development. A now resolved case between Bethesda parent company ZeniMax and Fallout Shelter developer Behavior Interactive over allegedly stolen code used in its Westworld mobile, for instance, is a recent example of that. The dispute spotted by Eurogamer this week was brought up by Skyrim script extender Ski. Ian Patterson in a Reddit post now says that code sourced from Ski can be found throughout Skyrim Together's iOS. In the post, he says that the loader itself is SKSES load, with all the options filed or found the arrow messages changed, and that other lines of code found in the mod's DLL is a pretty clear copy. You can just open their DLL in Notepad, then search for Ski to find tons of hits. Patterson told Eurogamer. After the post went up, I was able to examine the loader source code and found it was exactly as my analysis showed. It was code copied directly from Ski, with some very minor modifications. The team behind the Skyrim Together mod, whose Patreon recently jumped from $2,000 to $25,000 in pledges a month. Meanwhile, issued an apology in their March developer report, noting that code from prohibited libraries was in use. Those usages have been removed and any associated code is being reworked. There is no excuse as to why this code has remained in the codebase for this long and was distributed without credit or acknowledgement, reads the apology. Going forward, we will do our utmost best to respect the Skate team and their work and ensure the license request is maintained in the long run. Other issues have since surfaced surrounding Skyrim together, both involving its creators' past conflict with the Skate team and more recent concerns that a $25K per month Patreon takes the project into the more dubious area of paid third-party mods. Two topics discussed further in the Eurogamer story. Xbox's head of gaming Phil Spencer has reiterated Microsoft's desire to bring its Game Pass subscription service to any device that somebody wants to play on. Speaking to GEKWIRA, Spencer shed some light on the company's cross-device ambitions and explained how bringing X titles to a wide range of devices, including those belonging to competitors, would benefit both Microsoft and consumers. We want to bring Game Pass to any device that somebody wants to play on, he said, not just because it's our business, but really because the business model allows for people to consume and find games that they would not have played in any other space. Microsoft intends to turn that vision into a reality using its work-in-progress cloud streaming tech, Project Cloud, which will allow players to stream games on any device of their choosing. It's a bold vision, and some are worried that by letting its players access first-party titles on other hardware, Microsoft might be about to hurt sales by signing the Xbox death certificate. Spencer, however, does not share those concerns, and claims software is the biggest breadwinner. Hardware is not where you make money, he continued. The business inside of games is really selling games, and selling access to games and content in means like that is the fundamental business. So if you open it up, the more often people can play, the more they are enjoying the art form. It increases the size of the business. You can hear more from the Xbox by checking out the full interview over on GEKWIRA. Nintendo's planning and development boss Shinya Takahashi announced Friday that the company is scrapping current development of Metroid Prime 4 and restarting production with the Metroid Prime series. Original developer, Austin-based Nintendo subsidiary Retro Studios, a new game in the Metroid Prime series, has been long awaited by fans, and Metroid Prime 4's development restart and resulting delay means that Nintendo will have a large Metroid Prime-shaped hole in its release schedule for years to come. Takahashi said in a video announcement that the lack of real progress on the game has been regrettable. The current development process has not reached the standards with seeking a sequel to the Metroid Prime series, Takahashi said. He said the current development status of the game is very challenged, and said the shift in development studios was a difficult decision. Nintendo has never confirmed the studio that was initially working on Metroid Prime 4, while Retro is taking the reins. Metroid Prime 4 producer Kensuke Tanabe will still be overseeing development. Takahashi made it clear that Retro will be restarting development on the game from the beginning. Metroid Prime was originally teased at E3 in June 2017, with no other development update since. Takahashi did not give a window for a release date, only saying that development time will be extensive. Retro is responsible for 3 Metroid Prime games: Metroid Prime, Metroid Prime 2, Echoes, and Metroid Prime 3, Corruption, all of which were highly rated, well-received 3D interpretations of the Metroid series. Retro's latest game was Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze for Nintendo Switch. The Gamasutra job board is the most diverse, active and established board of its kind for the video game industry. Here is just one of the many positions being advertised right now. Location: Memphis, Tennessee. Responsible for engaging, stewarding, and growing the street. Should play live community to support new and existing video game initiatives and partnerships.